I'm going to share with you some of my favorite recipes and how I cook them for my family. Good morning, friends. Yes, I am still in South Carolina and we got quite the snowstorm last night. Today we are here to talk about the pantry challenge and how it's going for my family. We actually missed our pantry challenge update last week because of crazy weather. We had an ice storm come through and it was awful. That video is linked down below if you want to see what's going on there. So we have 2 weeks to update on. So I have 2 weeks of meal plans to go over, but also to make up for missing that video, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite recipes and how I cook them for my family. Okay friends, so before we get into the recipes I'm going to share with y'all for this week, I want to show y'all what we have been eating for the past week and what we plan on eating this week so you know what we're doing for our meal plan. So first we're going to go over last week's meal. So last Sunday I made my tuna and couscous. That is one of the recipes I will be sharing with y'all. It's our super easy, quick, go-to 10-minute meal. So we always have these ingredients on hand so we can make them anytime. I just need like a fast food. Next, I had bean soup and biscuits. The biscuits is another recipe I will be sharing with y'all today. This bean soup, though, is the bean soup that I made way back on our first week of this pantry challenge. Remember, we had this as beans and rice one night and bean soup the next night, and then I had so much bean soup left over that I froze the rest of it. And that brings us down to here, where we had bean soup and biscuits for 2 nights. So that one meal of bean soup that I made 2 weeks ago fed us for a total of 4 nights this month. So we did bean soup on Monday and on Tuesday, and sadly we finished it up and our biscuits up. Then I made pasta. I have so much pasta. And when I make a pasta sauce, I make a giant thing of it with only 1 pound of ground beef. It helps my ground beef go farther. You can also throw lentils into it to help your ground beef go farther if you need to. And then I freeze it in portions. So I pulled out frozen pasta sauce and just cooked up some noodles, and we had pasta that night. This week I have been on a fridge and freezer clean out is what I was trying to focus on. So I did a barbecue clean out. We had some chopped up pork shoulder in our freezer, and then I took a bunch of different sauces and just dumped them in the pot with the barbecue pork shoulder so that it would cook down. It made its own little barbecue sauce. There's not a recipe for that because it was really just what I had left over in my fridge. So like a half empty bottle of a vinegar based barbecue sauce that was sweet and spicy, and then some apple pepper jelly we had, and a little bit of leftover cranberry sauce, and then some Worcestershire sauce and a little bit of ketchup, and it actually came out really, really good. It was both sweet and spicy. This night, I put it over some mashed potatoes and served it up with some green beans. It was super yummy. The next night, I had that barbecue meat that was still left over, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and I didn't want to make rolls for barbecue sandwiches, but I had these tortillas that needed to be used up, so I turned it into a barbecue and cheese quesadilla. It was actually pretty good. We were super happy with it. It was a little messy with all the barbecue sauce, so next time I'll have to drain it because I didn't think about that, but it was actually pretty good. And then Saturday night I made chicken and dumplings, and that is another video I am sharing with you today. So chicken and dumplings, super good. Sunday night, which was last night, we had chicken and dumpling leftovers, and we finished off a little bit of the pasta leftovers, so that's cleared out. Tonight, Monday night, we are actually having ham chowder. This is again from some leftover ham that we had from that ham I cooked way back over in week 1. I just took what was the little pieces off the ham, chopped it up, threw it in the freezer. I think I have 2 bags of that. We're going to make ham chowder with one tonight. Tomorrow night, we're going to have chicken, breast, and 2 veg. So this is Tuesday. Now, the 26th, which is Wednesday, is actually my birthday. So we're doing my birthday meal. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know that I did buy apples outside of my pantry challenge budget. This was specifically for my birthday meal. And I'm going to make cheeseburgers and fries with apple turnovers. And we're probably going to go pick up some ice cream as well outside of the pantry budget, because I don't think birthdays should have to fall under the pantry challenge. This is a special day and it should be treated as such. And these are like my favorite food. So cheeseburgers, fries, apple turnovers with some vanilla ice cream on top. It's going to be my birthday meal. Happy birthday to me. And then the 27th, I will be having the ham chowder leftovers that night. Ham chowder is super easy to make. It makes a bunch, and so we always have leftovers of it. So we'll be doing that night. And then on Friday, the 28th, we'll have pasta. Again, I have another bag of frozen pasta sauce in my freezer, so I will make another day of pasta to try to clean it out. And then on the 29th, we will have leftovers from, I'm sure, pasta, maybe some ham chowder leftovers. If for some reason we don't have leftovers at the end of the week, this is another night where I would pull out my tuna and couscous as a backup. So just be prepared there. And that's the day our nest box is going for our meat rabbits. Yay! Meat rabbit babies coming soon. Okay guys, so there is my meal plan for last week and this week. If you are following me over on Instagram, then I post our breakfast and our stories, and I kind of give updates throughout the week about the meals we're eating and share pictures of all of them. So if you want to see them, make sure you go follow us over on Instagram. So here are some of my favorite recipes. I hope you enjoy them. Okay friends, before we get diving into these recipes and how I make them, I want to let you know that there are going to be 5 recipes shared with y'all today. I will have a screen card that comes up in between each one, so you will see what the new recipe is that we are coming into. I will go ahead and put each of these recipes up over on our blog and try to link them down in the description box below, so that it will be easy for you to be able to go and get the recipes and have them on hand. So first up on our recipe list is pizza. Okay guys, so we get started with our pizza. You need 2 cups of warm water. You need yeast. I do 1 tablespoon of yeast. And you're going to add that into your warm water. Also 1 tablespoon of sugar and add it into your warm water. And then you're just going to mix this up and let it proof, which means let it sit until it becomes foamy and bubbly. That way you know your yeast is working. Of course, my little helper here has to help me mix everything. Next to our bowl, we are going to add 4 cups of flour. Just keep in mind you will need about another ½ a cup to a cup set to the side for when we need our dough later. So 4 cups of flour go into the bowl. And I'm going to let y'all know, I ended up not having enough flour in my flour container here. So you'll see me stop. I go to our pantry storage to get the other thing of flour down. Of course, it's all the way at the back of the pantry storage. And while I'm getting it down, I drop it and bust the bag, and flour goes all over the place. And then I'm trying to balance this bag that's busted on one end to get it into my flour container. So that's what's going on here. I had a heck of a mess to clean up. Okay, now we're going to add to our mixture 1 tablespoon of salt. And a little Declan hands, evidently. Okay, here's our 1 tablespoon of salt going in. And then you're just going to give these a quick mix just to combine your dry ingredients before you start adding in your wets. I have the cutest little helper. Now we're going to add to our bowl 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Next, add in your yeast mixture to the container. And mix it all up. Go ahead and get your little bit of flour out on your surface. And this is where we're going to knead our dough. I like to knead it in the bowl for a few times just to make sure it's well combined before I start dealing with it on a floured surface. Once you're sure it's combined, just go ahead and flip it onto your floured surface, and you want to knead it until the dough is nice and smooth. It takes me about 10 minutes to get it by hand. You're going to add more flour to your surface as you knead it to make sure that your dough doesn't stick everywhere. You'll notice I added my apron on because I make a giant mess with flour. Who else makes a mess with flour? If you make a mess with flour, go ahead and hit that like button to let me know that I am not alone. Once you get your dough into a nice soft dough, go ahead and put it in a circle, round, however you want to do, just a ball of some sort. And then we are going to coat our bowl in olive oil, put our ball of dough in there, rub a little olive oil on it so that it's nice and coated. This keeps it from getting like a crust on it. And we're going to let it set for 1 hour. Now guys, if you do not want to knead it at that step, you can mix your dough together and set it in your fridge overnight or all day, and it will develop its gluten on its own. But at this point, I'm just going to set it in a warm area for 1 hour and let it proof, because we want to have dinner here soon. And it should be doubled in size. Now the trick to getting a crispy pizza crust, you want to take a cookie sheet and put it upside down in your oven and turn your oven on as high as you can get it. This will help that cookie sheet get hot, and then when you can slide your pizza crust in on top of that cookie sheet in your oven, and it will give it a nice hot crust. So that is the trick that I have to getting a good crust. Go ahead and stick that cookie sheet in your oven, turn it on as high as it'll go, and let it start heating while you go ahead and finish up making your pizzas. Before we start rolling out our dough again, I'm going to get my pizza sauce going. It's just 28 ounces of crushed red gold tomatoes, and I did a little water in the can to rinse it out. To that, we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of basil, 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 tablespoon of sugar. I did not add any salt to this because our pizza crust is already salty and our cheese will be salty, so it doesn't need salt in the pizza sauce. And then you're just going to mix it all up and let it simmer on the stove while you start making your crust and getting those rolled out. By the time you're done with that, this will be done simmering and you can just keep forming your pizzas. Here is my dough after it has rested and rose for an hour. If you see where I'm sticking my finger in, you see how it springs back. That lets you know that your yeast has worked and your bread dough is good, your gluten is formed. So now we're going to flour our surface again. Just kind of roll it out to get some of that air out of it. I only do like a minute or two just to release some of those trapped air bubbles. And then I cut mine into 4s. This is going to make 4 pizza crusts for us. Now take each one of your 4s and form it into your pizza crust. Everybody has their different ways that they do this. I like to start out by, kind of just stretching it out and let gravity kind of pull it down on the bottom. And then I press my fingertips into it. This makes little air pockets in the dough and helps to stretch it out. But you just need to keep working it until it gets to the size that you want it to be. I'm not a perfectionist for it being round or anything. I'm putting it on a rectangular pan so it can't be too round anyways. I mean, pizza is not affected by its shape. It tastes good no matter what it looks like. So I'm going to get out some parchment paper. This will give me something to slide my pizza crust onto so I can transfer it into my hot oven on that hot upside down cookie sheet. You can also use a silicone baking mat or whatever you use in place of parchment paper. Now I'm going to repeat this process for my 4 pizza crust and then just start building my pizzas. I tend to put a lot of pizza sauce on our pizzas, just so you're aware. This 28 ounce can of crushed tomatoes only made all 4 pizzas. So if you are not that big into sauce, it could stretch much farther, but we like our pizzas a little saucy. Add your toppings and then transfer the pizza into your oven where the hot cookie sheet is. Don't pull that cookie sheet out because you want it to stay nice and hot. And here is our finished results. It is all golden brown and bubbly. That's how you know it's done. Oh, looks yummy. Okay, the next recipe on our menu for today is the tuna and couscous. Now, I have promised this in a few videos, and now today I'm going to deliver it for y'all. This is my fast, easy, fast food meal that we always keep on hand. Okay, so first you need tuna and couscous, obviously. With the couscous, though, make sure that you have the right couscous, not the pearl kind. And then I'm doing 3 packets of flavored tuna. I do 1 packet per person. And I've got 1 tomato basil and 2 hickory smoked. You can do any combination you like. So I also add to this 1 tablespoon of Parmesan cheese, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of butter. So all you're going to do is add your dry couscous to the bowl. I'm doing 2 cups of couscous. Read your couscous packet to see how much water it is required to rehydrate your couscous, and that's how much you need to get hot. You want hot boiling water for this. I just scooped my couscous out into the bowl. I don't know if that's like a 1/4 cup measurement or what, if that's all I had on hand, but I promise it's only 2 cups. And then next I put in my butter. Then I'll add my tuna and all of my dry ingredients. It doesn't matter which order you add these into the bowl in. You just want to get all of your ingredients in the bowl before you add your water. That's the important part. So just add them all in, and then we'll give them a quick mix. Now, if you don't like this Starkist tuna or anything, you can use your own canned fish if you have any on hand. That'll work just fine. Just add a little extra flavorings if it's not already flavored. Next, we add in our hot boiling water. So you're going to give it a quick mix and then cover it with a plate. And don't forget to make a mess all over your table, because that's what I did. This only has set for 5 minutes. I let mine set for 10 while I cooked my green beans. And then that's it. All you're going to do is remove your plate and then fluff it like you would fluff rice. Technically, the tuna and couscous is completely ready to eat at this point. And when we hike or backpack, camp, whatever, this is usually all we have, because I just have some packing ingredients and some heated up water, and that's all we have to have for it. But since we're at home, I'm going to cook up a vegetable on the side and serve it for my family. It doesn't look that colorful or appetizing, but I promise it tastes delicious. And my 2-year-old loves it, so. Okay guys, so next recipe up on our list is my homemade biscuits. But we're going to start here by adding 4 cups of flour to our bowl. Next, we're going to add in 1/4 cup of baking powder, 1/4 cup of sugar. Yes, that's right, 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt. Mix up your dry ingredients. My little buddy here is helping me. I'm going to let y'all know that I totally messed up how I do this. He distracted me when he was asking for milk, and I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and get the milk out. When you make this recipe, do not add the milk yet. I did, and I didn't realize that I had messed up until later on in the recipe. But just don't add the milk yet. Just know that you need 2 cups of milk. I will tell you when to add the milk. Okay, so next you would sit here and cut up a 1/2 cup of butter. I just dice mine up. I know some people like to grate theirs with a grater, but I really don't find it makes that much of a difference. So I just try to cut mine fairly small. I dice it up. You want to be able to cut your butter into your dry ingredients. I use my hands and just kind of run the butter through the flour to break it up, but you can use an actual pastry cutter to do this step as well. After you get your butter cut into your flour, then you will add your milk and just give it a mix up. Remember, I did mine backwards, and so it was a lot harder to get my butter mixed into my flour mixture with it already being wet from the milk. However, the biscuits tasted delicious, so just know if you ever mess that up, don't freak out, just keep going. They're going to taste yummy no matter what. Now you're going to mix them together. I like to keep it in my bowl so I don't make a big mess. I know some people like to roll their biscuits out. Like I said, I don't roll my biscuits out, so I don't use a biscuit cutter. I just form them into balls. They don't look as pretty, but they taste just as delicious, and that's the important part for us. Plus, less dishes to clean up. Now, when you make biscuits, if you put them closer together and kind of crowd your pan, they will rise higher because they push off of each other. So, if I was making only, half of this batch or something, I would have just done them in my cast iron skillet so they could have pushed off of each other. But with the size I made them, they didn't quite get as close as I would like them to each other. So they didn't rise as much. But they're still delicious. They're still beautiful. And they worked out perfect for our dinner tonight, which was our bean soup that we had that was left over in our freezer. All I had to cook tonight was the biscuits and heat up the soup. Okay friends, our next recipe for y'all is chicken and dumplings. Love homemade chicken and dumplings. We are going to start out with 8 cups of water and 1/4 of a cup of chicken, like powdered chicken stock, chicken bouillon, whatever you want to call it. I don't have any chicken stock on hand. That's why I'm doing this. If you have chicken stock on hand, all you need is 8 cups of chicken stock. Next, I'm going to mix this up real good and make my beautiful chicken stock. Super easy way to do it. I always keep the powder on hand. Add into this your chicken breast. I'm doing 4 fairly small chicken breasts. If you had large ones, you could do large ones. This was just some freezer burnt chicken. I had it in my freezer. We're going to add to this 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of chopped dehydrated onion, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of salt. This is Redmond's real salt. That's why it's pink. You see these different speckles in it. That's the different minerals that naturally occur in this salt. Okay, so next we're going to take 3 carrots that are in our fridge. We're going to get those peeled and diced. Add those into your soup once you've got them peeled and diced. Mix it up. Now you want to bring this up to a boil and let it boil for 15 minutes. This will take your chicken breast, defrost them, and cook them up in 15 minutes. Best thing to do when you have frozen chicken. Just start in a soup, boil it for 15 minutes. Next we're going to pull our chicken breast out. Careful, these are piping hot. And we're just going to give them a quick chop. In some soups I like to shred them. This one I did a quick chop. Declan is not a fan of having his soup mixed together, so I actually have to pull the pieces out for him to eat it and have it separated on a plate. So I just chopped mine up fairly big so that I didn't have an issue pulling it out for him. And we'll give that a mix together. Next we're going to make our dumplings, and all this is 1 cup flour, 1 cup water. I will also add to this a sprinkle of pepper and a sprinkle of salt. I'm not measuring them. It's just like a sprinkle across the top. But you don't even have to add salt and pepper to it at this point if you don't want to. I am a big fan of salt and pepper, so it does kind of give it a peppery kick to the soup. If you don't like that, you want to tone the heat back, skip the salt and pepper in the dumpling mixture. All you need is equal parts flour and water to make your dumplings. So you want your dumpling mixture to be like a thick pancake batter. And all you're going to do is drip it into your soup from different heights. I find that this gets it in different layers of the soup. Some will sink to the bottom, some will cook on the top. And you just drip it all in there. Do not stir your soup. I should have pulled my spoon out of there. I've realized that halfway through. I have to be very careful when I pull it out later. You do not want to mix this into your soup. That will act as a thickener instead of a dumpling if you mix your soup at this point. So don't mix it. That's the most important step. Just drip it in there. It's okay. It's not meant to look pretty. Just drip it. Once you get all of your mixture dripped in, all you have to do is cover it up and let it cook for 5 minutes. Now you can uncover it, stir gently, and any like massive dumpling balls, like I have some, just cut those in half with your spoon and just be very gentle. You're not trying to mix any uncooked dumpling into your soup at this point. You want it to cook into a dumpling. Let it cook another 5 minutes. I leave the lid off at this point so it can reduce down a little bit and start thickening. Then it's done. I am pulling out Declan's chicken and carrots and dumplings on his plate. He likes his food separated, and that makes him happy. We'll eat ours in a bowl. This would be great with some kind of crusty bread. We just use crackers with ours though. Our last recipe for y'all comes from my cookbook. That is my mom's recipes and recipes I've added to it throughout the years. But this brownie recipe is my mom's. It's Nana Lynn's brownies. If you ask Declan, I made a few tweaks to it. Don't let her know. but it is delicious. So you're going to start with 2 cups of sugar in your bowl. Add to that 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of cocoa powder, and of course cocoa powder goes flying all over the place. It's worse than flour. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then we're just going to mix our dry ingredients together. My little helper here is helping me get those mixed all up. And then we're going to crack into our bowl 4 eggs, which Declan is helping me do right now. Getting pretty good at cracking the eggs for me. And then again, give it a mix. Try to incorporate that flour and those eggs together. Looks like my video cut out for a minute here, so I just want to let you know, after you mix your 4 eggs into your mixture, you're going to add in 1 cup of melted butter. That's why we're going to mix our eggs into the powder first, because we don't want the melted butter to cook the eggs if it's hot. So give it a mix with your eggs into your dry mixture, and then add in 1 cup of melted butter and mix that all together. Next, add it into your baking dish. I did one side with chopped walnuts just because I had some on hand. Normally I do plain. And cook it. I'm not the best about giving cooking times, but Mom's recipe says 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. So when you bring it out, you want it to have this beautiful crust on the top, but still be a little jiggly. And then you're going to let it set for 15 minutes to cool before you cut into it. And there you go. It is thick. It is crusty on the outside, nice and chewy and moist on the inside, and the perfect brownie if you ask me. Okay guys, I hope y'all enjoyed our recipes. Don't forget to check the description box below where I will link all of these recipes over on my blog so you can see them on paper. And I hope y'all enjoyed that. Let's finish up this video and find out how our pantry challenge is going for us so far. Okay, so with our pantry challenge, the update and how we've been doing, I'd say we've done pretty good with it actually so far. The first week we spent $24.60 at the grocery store, right under our $25 budget. The second week I only spent $17 at the grocery store. And then the third week, this week, I spent $20. So I have come under budget technically all 3 weeks so far. I'll let y'all know in our week 1 review that I'll leave down below that I was a little concerned for month 2 because we were starting to go through some of the staples like flour, sugar, oats, grits faster than we expected. How do you like the pantry challenge? Is it going okay?
Oh, I don't care. I'm eating either way, so.
Yeah. So. You're getting tired of grits and oatmeal?
Yeah, I love grits and oatmeal.
Okay. So what I think I want to do for month 2 for the pantry challenge is that any money we have left over in our $25 a week for dairy and eggs, I'm going to use to stock up for flour and sugar and stuff. I actually went ahead and started this. So this past week where I spent my $20, I knew I was going to come in under budget. So I went ahead and bought a 5-pound bag of flour just to start replenishing that stock. And I'm just going to keep doing that. So I'll have $25 grocery budget. We're not going to limit it to dairy and eggs anymore just because we're running out of the staples. We have tons of veggies and stuff though. So I don't have to worry about that. It's just mainly flour, sugar that we've been kind of getting low on. So I just want to, when I have left over in my $25 budget, just go ahead and start stocking those back up. But other than that, I think we've done pretty good on the pantry challenge. I've stuck to our goal so far. We have not went out to eat at all this month. Like didn't even stop and grab something from Chick-fil-A or anything. I have not bought a soda in over a month, and I am a big time like Coke and Dr. Pepper lover. But this pantry challenge has been really good for my health, and I've set those down and I'm done pretty good. We do brew our own kombucha, so for me that tends to take the place of a lot of the more carbonated caffeine drinks. So I do that, and that kind of keeps me happy. That, lots of coffee and sweet tea.
And I can't afford this stuff at the store.
What, kombucha? It's like $3 a bottle for kombucha at the grocery store. And each of us will drink 1 bottle a day. That is what, $42 without tax that we spend a week on kombucha. And
No,
I can,
that's what I would spend. If,
yeah, what we would have spent. But when we brew it at home, I mean, we may spend $1 a week on the ingredients.
Stop it.
It's not often we get snow in South Carolina, so when we do, we have to take advantage of it. We are having so much fun.
Too wet to make a snowball.
Get him, buddy, get him.
McColl.
Oh, he put up a whole bucket on you. Bye, friends. We'll see y'all later.